What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum, which you should definitely all join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Now we are joined by 10th Man, Sleeping Warrior, Ranty Flat Earth, Paul, Flatzoid and Quantum Eraser. Very good to have you all.
Woohoo!
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Oi, oi.
Now the join link might be a bit of an issue on this show as we currently don't have any Discord. Hopefully that'll change. We will see. I didn't think the show would run at all as we didn't have any connection, or we had a problem with the actual Google Hangout. So I'm surprised we've got a show at all. Very pleased that we're all running and actually live. So happy days. Shout out to Colin Turner for hitting the super chat before the show even began. Thank you very much indeed. Any signs of Earth curvature?
No point.
None.
Nothing whatsoever.
Another big shout out to all the people on Patreon who I must do more with. I keep saying all last week
No.
do more with them and then didn't. So I will, I promise. I'll definitely shout that out more.
Mick West, reckons there's curvature.
Mick West reckons?
Mick West reckons there's curvature. He has a calculator that you can use to determine the amount of curve.
Oh,
Just not at the coast.
Even though it doesn't work over water, which is 90% of, well, 70% of what the Earth is supposedly made of.
So we give that calculator a title, don't we? They're begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking curve calculator, right? So let's break that down. Begging the question because it assumes its outcome. It's not proving anything. It's already got a radius value. It already knows the Earth is a sphere. It's not proving anything. It's begging the question, assuming its outcome. So that's the first part, begging the question. Proof of nothing. Well, if it's begging the question, it's fallacious. Therefore, it proves absolutely nothing. Also, models are pseudoscience, proving nothing. Not proof. So begging the question, proof of nothing. Most important detail, perspective hijacking. It works in an orthographic view, otherwise known as Muppet vision. Side on. You see the side of your own head and the target, and therefore the size of the target does not change with distance. It remains the same, as denoted by the feet and inches or meters value that you will enter into those calculations. Those values do not change with distance. In reality, things get smaller with distance. That effect, perspective, has been hijacked and simply called Earth curve. It isn't. Objects get smaller with distance. This is an effect of perspective. Earth curve is not real.
I have a question that's related to that from Ballbusters, just more of a clarifying, but also could anticipate a rebuttal in this question. And this is probably directed at John. Is the radar affected by refraction in any way in the atmosphere?
What radar?
The beam radar for the missiles.
Oh, the pencil laser targeting system on the Sea Sparrow.
What? Modern missiles have like own laser guidance and shit.
The point with the Sea Sparrow is it requires line of sight. In other words, that laser, yeah, it might very well be slightly bent, but ultimately speaking, you have to paint a target with that laser. It must be illuminated by that laser in order for the missile to hit the target. Well, if you've got Earth curve in the way, you ain't going to be having line of sight. That's the point.
Unless there's something like terrestrial refraction.
Terrestrial refraction is 7/6 of the begging the question R value. So no, not terrestrial refraction, are we?
No, but I'm just saying that it's very easy to presuppose that the laser will just go around the curve if everything is looming also.
Yes,
Can't
it's very
hit the target on a loom.
It's very easy to beg the question. Yes.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Nathan, can you tell the audience the difference between angular size and actual size? When you're talking about objects over distance.
Sure. Angular size will reduce over distance, actual size will not. So a 10-foot wall will be a 10-foot wall at 1 mile, 100 miles, 1,000 miles, 10,000 miles. It's always going to be a 10-foot wall. However, its angular size will vary. Angular meaning not actual size, apparent size. So how much it appears in the picture. So in this instance, you've got these rocks in the foreground appearing to be almost as big as the mountain in the background. Couple of feet versus, I don't know, 1,000 feet. Well, obviously, while they look comparable, if you were to run a tape measure up this image, they aren't. Their actual sizes are massively different and denoted by a feet and inches or meters value, as opposed to a radian measurement or an angular size, which will decrease with distance.
There's a better way of describing it. Allow me.
Go ahead.
Apparent size is the size an object appears from a set distance, whereas actual size, as Nathan correctly points out, it's the same size no matter how far away it is. So apparent size is from a set distance, which is why angular size is a sum. It's not simply a measurement.
Any signs of what I've got up to so far? Axial rotation?
Nope.
Nope.
Not when
No,
it
no,
returns
no.
to the Earth.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
No.
Not at all.
No.
Not even from
Nope.
their side.
There's
But I did
definitely no
manage.
scientific-
manage to replace it completely. We actually founded on relative density theory, and I
Yeah,
can
there's no
include all
evidence.
the aberrations with it by now. So
There's no evidence whatsoever, no scientific evidence or evidence otherwise to suggest that gravity even exists. Because even if it was the bendy space-time that superseded, replaced, debunked Newtonian principles, we're never going to be able to test the curvature of space-time by giving it a bit of a wiggle to prove that it causes anything.
There's
Well,
a
there's
claim
no
from,
curve on the Earth, and there's no curve in space-time either.
there's a claim
It's all
from
just math.
There's a claim from Supercurve says you calculate angular size using distance from observer and size of target. Fair enough. 2 inputs, 2 curve calculator. Now what are you talking about there, Supercurve?
Begging the question.
Please clarify what you mean.
hey Nathan,
Yeah.
I'm presenting something I did this morning. I would like to give some proof of how you know angular size and limited viewing angle. I
ahead.
made a little demonstration on my show.
Go ahead, you're on.
All right, so it's not with volume. Don't really need to. But I'm going to show, I had blueberries, and I'm going to show you that blueberry can practically cover up my entire head. And then, look, now it's so far away, can barely see a dot.
That'd be angular size then.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Oh, can you make it cover your head again for me, just so I can get my head around this?
Sounds like reminds me of the Rubik's Cube you did with Wiggles.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
right.
was just about to say that.
It
What
is.
housekeeping question are we on now?
There we go. Do you know what, Arwin? You look so much better with a nice shade of purple foundation.
We've
What's the housekeeping question?
just had gravity, scientific evidence of gravity.
Right, okay.
Oh, no, this is not related.
Sure.
I didn't drop the blueberry on the ground.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
But no apparent
There is
distance.
no evidence of a distance to a sun.
There's no confirmed
Sorry, I just
measure
got an answer.
distance.
Sorry. Supercurve says you enter the target size and distance away in the curve calculator. That's lovely. Now can you show me in the curve calculator where it shows you where something will disappear through angular size? You have good luck with that, my friend.
No way to measure the distance to the sun, but it's there. It's a light.
I didn't even ask. Any evidence of the distance to the sun? Clairvoyant.
Nope.
No apparent distance.
Any evidence of Anthony getting a quieter keyboard?
Oh,
Not
that's
me.
sorry.
Any evidence
Apology
of
accepted, Nathan.
say again?
Apology accepted.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Definitely not. I don't know how anybody can claim that there's a molten iron core when nobody knows what's beyond 8 miles.
8.
Nope.
Right.
Oh, and by the way, conspiracy cats, P waves and S waves, totally and utterly subject to interpretation, moron. Doesn't prove it's not true to say that the only shape that can possibly be is a sphere. That's based on interpretation and extrapolation, isn't it? Conspiracy cats. Stop telling half truths, because the other half of it's lies.
It's very biased.
He's an utter moron.
Have we done axial rotation yet?
We have
Yeah.
done axial rotation. We're on to the R value next. Any evidence of the R value?
R.
Are you kidding?
No.
The only R value that we find daily is R win.
Is win a value?
It is when you
put
compare it to
R
lose.
at the beginning as well.
Okay.
No R value.
Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
Yeah, just walk outside, Nathan.
That would be evidence of gas pressure, and the necessary antecedent for gas pressure would be a container. So what are you implying?
I'm saying that if you think there's a container, Nathan, I'd like to see evidence of the container, please.
The necessary antecedent.
Yeah, but where is the container, Nathan?
I don't know what the sky is.
Where is the necessary antecedent,
Where?
Nathan?
Well, I
On
don't
the
know that
telly.
either. I don't profess to know what the sky is, but I know what the sky isn't. So the reason for asking for a demonstration of gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container is because there is a claim by the people who declare they know what the sky is, that the sky is a vacuum called outer space, and that would defy the second law of thermodynamics. The gas would fill the space.
Yeah, you're just begging the question, Nathan.
What question would that be?
You're saying that because there's gas pressure, there must be a container. You're begging the question.
No, that's a necessary antecedent, consequent antecedent relationship.
So why is it not begging the question, Nathan?
It's begging the law.
Okay, if I say
Hello.
I've got a T-bone, right, and I say, well, obviously there was a cow at one stage, and you say you're begging the question, I would say nonsense. It's an antecedent.
Oh. Shout out to all those morons that use begging the question fallacy out of context.
Still waiting for
Science
demonstration though.
Got Rumpus saying
But
pressure
Nathan-
does not have a necessary antecedent of a container.
Nathan,
So what does it press upon?
how do you know what was it derived? How was it concluded that it is a necessary antecedent?
What's
we're
PSI?
dealing with
Pounds
natural
per square
law.
inch, right? Square inch of what?
No, but I understand the reasoning behind it, but how was that originally manifested?
How you get the measurement in the first instance?
We're dealing with natural law.
Okay, who came up with that line of reasoning? Because if that is really exactly how it was meant to be, then somebody must have used this argument system before. Have you seen historical references of that?
Why is
No,
water
Antecedent
no.
reference?
I don't need a historic reference when I can give you a
I
bazillion.
know you don't need it, but I'm very interested to see if there is
Sure.
any.
But it holds true. I will always require a container if I have gas pressure. That will always be the case. That's why the question is phrased thus. Show us gas pressure without the container. If you're to assert that you don't need a container, no problem, Rumpus. Let's see a demonstration of gas pressure without a container. Simple. I can give you a million demonstrations of it with a container. Now give us one without. Simple.
And whilst we're talking about demonstrations, I'd like to see Rumpus give us a demonstration of how gravitational pull from the moon causes tides when gravity's not a force. So however the tides are being caused, Rumpus, I'd like to see how you're going to do that when you haven't got an interaction. So let us know how we get on with that one, because I want to know how tides are explained on a ball.
Doesn't he have a barrier to breach first before he gets there?
Right. That barrier that we've just been discussing.
Yeah, there's another barrier too. He's going to have to show us how air is not the atmosphere.
Dumpus.
But it's not the atmosphere. You just can think of it as the atmosphere.
Yeah. It's not gas pressure. I got it. Where did you get it from? The atmosphere. Then it's atmospheric pressure, isn't it? Then? No, it's not atmosphere. The air's not atmosphere. Don't be silly. Yeah, it is.
Can you make your picture full screen, please, Paul? Thank you very much.
Hey, Discord's still down, man. It's calling it a general internet. Let me hit it again. Let me get it right.
I didn't want to play the sound just in case. This is just posted this morning by John D. So you're watching it as I'm watching it. So I didn't want to play the sound just in case a copyright issue might pop up. So we can watch, maybe understand by watching.
Behavior of gases when exposed to a pressure differential. Second law of thermodynamics. Cool.
Oh, I would like to address a troll for a second. Vinnie Mac in chat suggests that I claimed there is zero evidence for flatness. Well, no, I did not do that. I just said there's no scientific evidence for that. It's very specific. Just wanted to say that.
Flatness is not a cause and effect relationship. No phenomena of flatness. It is what it is, observably flat.
So it's talking about, sorry to interrupt, Discord, it says global unavailability.
Global? Those bastards.
They're begging the question.
Begging the question. Absolutely right, Flatzoid.
Maybe in just a roundabout way.
The atmosphere, represented by smoke from the burnt tissue. In this observation, the second law of thermodynamics isn't legible due to focus issues. Gravity.
Gravity?
It's not a force, but you can think of it as a force.
Is that what it says?
Makes sense.
Dr. John D's got a good sense of humour.
I don't see any problem with that.
We know, Arwin.
I can think of it as a force anytime I like. I'm not gonna claim it though.
Sorry, the Rumpus is saying I didn't respond to your comment. Yeah, you didn't respond to my request for a demonstration. Your words are meaningless. I would like a demonstration of gas pressure without something to press upon, Rumpus. Not your words, Mr. Air is not the atmosphere. Your words aren't worth much. You have no credibility anymore.
Yeah, put a presentation together and send me an email. I'll let you show it on my show.
Yeah, do a demonstration on Ranty's channel of air without the necessary antecedent of a container.
I'd like to know from Rumpus what he meant between one lion and a pride of lions.
So does Anthony. He's typing to him right now.
I'm on mute. It wasn't me. Again, I'm not guilty.
Oh, it's someone else. That's why you said about saying sorry. Who was typing? Who was that?
Arwin.
Arwin?
Oh, man. Sorry, Anthony.
It was Arwin before as well. That's why I was saying
apologise.
What's
apologies.
going on here? There's nothing happening. I can't hear anything.
Because you're typing so bloody loud.
So why is everybody silent?
Typegate.
Discord's
yourself on
down. That's why.
What are you talking about?
Discord's down.
Okay.
Just us at the moment.
Yay!
That's Ranty. bloody ranting flat earth.
That's definitely not me.
He's just here to sabotage. First, he gives unprecedented, unopposed platforms to globe heads. Then he types all over this show. What a scumbag.
Wait, what?
Wait, what? Who? What? Talking about you, are we?
During the observation, there was a maximum of 51,000 pressure differential between the inside of the bell jar and the outside atmosphere at sea level. Smoke, brackets gas, under the influence of a 51,000 pressure differential. Gravity that is said to exist cannot prevent the diffusion of smoke/gas at a 51,000 times pressure differential. So the point that he's making is a point that John has said about 1,000 times. It doesn't matter what fundies say gravity does. It's not going to overcome entropy, even if it was real. So this is described by John when he says to Fundy Globehead, okay, I'll give you both. You can have the force of, let's get it right, Reverend John Mitchell / Cavendish gravity, and the bending of space-time. You can have them both at 100% effect. You still won't overcome entropy. So even in this example, he's giving it to the globers. He's begging the question. He's saying gravity. Obviously, it's there. You're claiming it's there. Downward force. Bollocks. Well, I'll give it you. That's what he's doing with a demonstration. Does it make a blind bit of difference? No, it never did. It's never going to be part of their argument. This is why my frustration comes with, no offence, Anthony, but yourself, when you're like, well, if they haven't got a force, how are they going to keep the gas on the... No. That was never an argument. That was never an argument. Gravity couldn't do that, even if it was real.
Yep. That's
Can
right.
I just clarify that I totally understand?
Hold on. Go ahead, Anthony.
Can I just clarify that I totally understand, empathise and apologise for Nathan each time I beg the question, because I get that we shouldn't be begging the question. I just like doing it.
You're starting to contract a bad habit. Don't become like Schemo.
Some people may bring up the principle of gas density gradient within the atmosphere. Oh, aye. That's straw man. When the water degasses and starts to boil, rivers, seas, and water bodies begin to decrease in volume. Oh, too quick.
Mm-hmm.
No atmosphere, no liquid water. So yeah, what he's essentially saying is if the sky was a vacuum, we would be at 10 to the minus 17 torr at sea level, and all of the water would just instantly evaporate and also disperse.
Yeah, the vapor pressure, man. They'd be gone in an instant.
Yeah. So when someone says go outside, it's like, yeah, there you go. That definitively proves that we've got a container at play, something to press upon. It's not dispersing into the vacuum. We do have our carbon and nitrogen and hydrological cycles. They are in effect.
But what about Jupiter?
What about Jupiter?
Speaking of the title,
It's a gas planet, right?
Hold on, 10th man.
Gravity can actually hold it to that ball.
What's Jupiter?
It's a big gas planet.
Says who?
You can see it in the sky.
I can see a light in the sky. Right. So that's what Jupiter actually is, a light in the sky. Now, why would you assert that that light in the sky is violating the second law of thermodynamics? If it's a gas and there's a vacuum around it, then it would disperse into the vacuum. So definitely not a gas. I absolutely know for certain that Jupiter's not a gas.
But I've seen the cloud storms on Jupiter. That must be a gas, all of it. If it's so heavy and big and storming around, then it must be all gas.
Say you've seen.
Yeah.
What do you mean by you've seen?
I saw it on the telly.
I see.
You saw it on the telly.
Dedicated to me. Wow. Thank you very much, Dr. John D. I didn't expect that at the end.
any sign of axial rotation.
We've already done that.
I thought,
Yeah.
I thought you said we hadn't.
Oh, we had.
I must have been sleeping when you said that. Because I think I can prove it.
Big shout out to Dr. John D. Is there any chance you could post the link to that in the side chat, please, Paul, so I can spam it in the live comments thread?
I will do that. Give me just a few seconds.
Thank you very much. Yeah, big shout out to John D.
I want to bring up, since we got QE on the line, that great question he asked Rumpus and the fantastic answer Rumpus gave last week. The question was from QE, where did you get the air from? And Rumpus's answer was, it doesn't matter where I got it from.
Hey, chocolate.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Chocolate.
Chocolate.
So, axial rotation, I have a thought process or an experiment to do with that.
My bad. I should have been led better. I'm sorry, Ranty. What about that axial rotation, eh? Any signs of that?
Yes, I think it can be proved one way or the other. You see, if you went outside and you jumped up and down, eventually you'd end up at your destination.
Yeah, based on the Coriolis effect. Yes, that's correct.
And if you don't, then there is no Coriolis.
Yeah, that's correct. There isn't.
I think I've heard a test like that before. It's like trying to jump over a fence and see if you can, if you trip over the fence, then the earth must have turned too much underneath you. Makes sense, right?
I was thinking you could go and test it, Arwin. Do you want...
Nice.
Just film it. Just go outside and film yourself jumping on the same spot.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you got to film it or it didn't happen.
And then you can say you've tried to do a scientific test, you know.
Well, there are these bushes down there. So the worst that could happen is I could face down into the grass or something. No, I'm not actually going to do it. Besides, the camera would be stationary, so it would all be relative for the camera anyway.
I'd laugh if you did jump up and you went 3 miles down the road.
Wow. Nah, I'm not that light on my feet. This is not the moon. Sorry.
So Nathan, ask me, why did I wake up at 3:45 this morning?
Why did you wake up at 4:45? Hey, Chris.
Hello.
Yeah, why did you wake up at 4 o'clock?
Because I forgot to shut the curtains when I went to bed last night, and then the sun starts coming up and I'm wide awake. And I just flicked over to see who was on. And Sean Little G, you know, like that Sean G, I call him Sean Little G now because he doesn't understand gravity.
Nice.
He was just winding up his show, and Jose said that he was going to go live when Sean finished. And I thought, well, I'm awake. I don't mind joining Jose's chat, because Bob, the no science guy, wanted to have a conversation with me. And I was like, yeah, your time's been coming for a long time, sonny boy. So I managed to have a good back and forth with Bob, the no science guy. And, well, basically, it's going to be my next upload. And it's glorious. Bob, the science guy, cannot science.
Bob, the pseudoscience fallacy guy is the correct terminology.
He doesn't accept that if I cause the egg to move in my experiment by adding a little bit of density to the water, he doesn't think that that's the cause. He thinks that he can imply that there's some other cause that I didn't manipulate, and he thinks that's science. I had the great pleasure of reminding him of the definition of independent variable, and within scientific method, it's the presumed cause that I manipulate. And it requires that I manipulate it, right? It doesn't require that somebody else can then infer some other cause. It's the one that I manipulate. So it's going to be a real...
You know, you could even be the subject.
I have to say real quick, shout out to Sean Little G. for his argument of gravity is a force because of my lack of understanding of how gravity is not a force. So to me, it's a force.
Yeah. Shout out to that Sean Little.
That's the worst argument I've heard since shoe is a natural phenomenon.
Yeah, and 8 inches per square mile.
Well, it's basically an argument from an admission of ignorance, right?
So yeah, shout out. I mean,
an argument from an admission of ignorance.
Beyond ridiculous.
Yeah, it is an argument from the admission of ignorance. You're right.
Yeah,
it's a clown show. It's carnival out there, man. And you know what? Listen, I don't know why you even went after Bob, the pseudoscience fallacy
Orbital
guy.
mechanics.
Oh
Orbital mechanics.
He's already killed that.
He shows through gravity. He shows a rocket going up.
Just listen to it. What they're basically saying, orbital mechanics is basically a very fancy word for things are falling in a circle. Things are falling in a circle. And I think about how it actually sounds.
Do you know what I heard Farmer's Boy claim the other day? Again, in Jose's chat, when they're all sat there, all comfortable and relaxing with each other, he said, this is what he actually said, right? This is pretty much verbatim. He said, you think that the Earth curves at 8 inches per mile squared, don't you? And the guy said, yeah. And he said, it doesn't. And the guy says, yeah, it does. He says, no, it doesn't. There's undulations in the land called topography. And I was like, yeah, it's still subject to 8 inches per mile squared.
No, he didn't say that. He said square miles.
Well, whatever. I think that he meant 8 inches per mile squared. Whatever he may have said,
that's not what he said. And he said it multiple times.
The guy's a moron. He thinks that the topography of the land makes it look flat because it's not 8 inches per mile squared. It's like, what an absolute idiot. If that was true, right, that means it would appear to be flat when it's going uphill. And when you went back downhill, it'd be like a sheer cliff because you've got to catch up to that curve that you're getting a compensation for initially, right?
No, cliffs are flat, man.
Cliffs are flat. Curves are flat. Everything's flat on their model, isn't it? It's supposed to be a curve, but it's flat.
Everything is flat and everything is curved at the same time.
Tony, have you heard of the Dead Sea?
Pardon?
Have you heard of the Dead Sea?
Just sorry, Ranty. It's not. It's chocolate. Just get it right. It's flat, but then you have to base your pre-assumption on a curve, even though it is flat. That's how it works.
Right.
So it's flat, but that flatness references curvature. That's how they double speak here.
Right, because we live in opposite world. Yes.
Yeah. Why is there no drop? Because it's referencing a curve. The flatness, that is. That's why.
Yes. So, Tony, have you heard of the Dead Sea?
Yes.
So apparently you can go out there and you can just float on it, yeah? In fact, it's very difficult to drown.
Salt water's more dense than fresh water, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that it?
That was it.
Well, do you know what? I've got an even better example of really good, a really good illustration of how salt water's more dense than...
Did you not want to expand on that a little bit, Ranty? That was a great example.
Well, it's a liquid, you're floating in it, and apparently if it's more salty in one location, the gravity has no effect on you. You know, you can't drown in it.
Well, you definitely can drown in it. You're just more buoyant.
It's better the fatter you are.
Yeah, the more surface area you have.
That's why. I know this is going to sound racist, and I don't mean it to, but that's why black swimmers can't swim as good as white swimmers can, because they've generally got more.
What in the world?
No,
you can use it yourself as an independent variable.
I want to hear this. Let me hear it. Carry on, Anthony. Go ahead.
If you look at the Olympic swimmers, right, there's never a black guy in it because they've generally got more muscle and less fat compared to white guys that have got plenty of fat and not as much muscle. You never see a black swimmer, and that's the reason why.
What a load of bollocks.
Excuse me?
Oh my God.
I'm telling you, it's true.
No, it's not.
Oh my God.
Sorry, I'm just going to say that I do not endorse any of the opinions or feelings of all of the panel members.
I'm telling you.
Okay, I'm going to Google it.
Yeah, you Google it.
I'm going to Google it. I'm not going to do a cross-reference study of all of the black communities to see if they're actually more muscle-bound. I'm going to Google it.
I think that's going to go down in history, Tony.
Holy shit. I can see rows and rows and rows of black swimmers.
I said generally. You never see.
Generally.
Yeah,
Makes it
come up
much
with a
better.
stereotype fallacy,
Generalizing, are
correct?
we now?
Right, come on. We need some objectivity here. Chocolate. Am I generally speaking right or not?
Hold on. Chocolate speaks for the entire black community, just to make that clear.
We just need a bit of perspective here to balance this out a little bit. Am I right, Chocolate, or not?
Go ahead, Chocolate. I'm going to rumpus all over you. Go.
What the hell are you asking me, bro?
Yeah,
How the hell would he know?
Are you kidding me?
Come on, I can't be the only guy that's heard of this one.
Well,
you
I'm
should
not
come
an
to
Hey,
Olympic
no, wait a
swimmer.
second,
I
wait
don't
a
know. I can confirm that I am not an Olympic swimmer. So yeah, there you go. I'm your citation. There you go.
All right.
There are quite a few in South Africa, if that helps.
Hold on. He has just lent some credibility to his claim after a survey of one.
Unbelievable.
I got a question
We're
for
off the
QE.
rails, man.
I got a question for QE. John.
It's not about swimmers and their ethnicity, is it?
No, not at all. I'm trying to change the subject here.
Are we talking about little swimmers?
No, we're changing the subject here.
What subcategory is exposed exactly?
Fucking ranty.
Hello. Hello. Thank you. So, John, that was a good show on Ballbusters. You were referencing the Sea Sparrow targeting system. A question popped in my mind as you were talking and showing the distances and how it worked. Since the Globers are saying due to diffraction and all these different terms, there's looming, and an object that shouldn't be there is somehow brought over the curve of the Earth, and it appears like the Chicago skyline 53 miles away. And since there's targeting systems that have that type of range, how can a laser dial in on a hologram?
It can't.
Well, if the light looms, then why wouldn't the laser, you know?
Oh, that was the other John or the other QE. Go ahead.
I just said my say.
There's only one QE. He goes by John.
He did answer you, though, to be fair. You can't paint a slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena holographic projection of a boat from behind Earth curve. That's not possible.
The bit I want to know about is the hyena.
I don't think he's in chat right now.
All right, so gents, let me give you a real-world application for where gravity does not exist, but density absolutely does.
I'm relieved that it wasn't another ethnic joke.
It wasn't a joke. I'm serious. Right, come on, listen. Nathan, present my screen, sir.
Anyway, I have personally tested out that in saltwater baths, you do actually get pushed up a lot more compared to regular water.
Brilliant.
Well,
That's thank you very much for that. Okay.
what about if you put pepper in? Have you ever tried it with a pepper instead of salt?
What?
Okay, Anthony, you're on.
You're ranty. You all right today, bro?
I thought he
They're
said
actually
pepper.
green.
Pepper. Anyway, this is totally off topic. Anthony's presenting. He's obviously got a good point.
Yes, so give me 2 minutes while I conclude. No interruptions, please. Right, everybody's familiar with the plimsoll line on a boat. If you're not, all it is the line that is basically governing how much load the boat can carry before it's considered to be overloaded and at risk of sinking. So basically, if you're not sure, just type in plimsoll line, then click images, and you'll see pictures of boats with lines on them, and that gives you a visual indication of whether the boat's loaded or not. That's why the bottom of that the sea truck boat that Rancy's got with the brown line on it, that's the plimsoll line that we're seeing, and we can tell that it's not a loaded boat because we can see the brown underneath. Rancy will be familiar with it. Now, what's really interesting with the plimsoll line is if you look at the scale that's used, obviously the line is denoting where the water line is. They've got different parameters depending on whereabouts you are in the world and depending on whether you're in saltwater or freshwater. So if you're in, obviously, the more you load your vehicle, the line's going to go up, and it's going to be governed based on how much you can carry, but also based on the density of the water that you're in. So basically, when the boat's loaded, it'll line up, and when the boat's empty, it'll line up. But the point is, the salt water is on the right-hand side, the fresh water is on the left-hand side. So you can see that if you're in tropical fresh waters, you can't put as much load on it because basically fresh water and warm fresh water is less dense than winter North Atlantic salt water. So you've got the salt water down one side, the fresh water down the other side, temperature included, and basically this is basically, there's no mention of gravity here whatsoever. So I'll just leave that one with you guys for a minute while I answer Fawn.
That's really interesting, man.
Well, I've been to the Dead Sea, and I've been to the Pacific Ocean, and definitely at the Dead Sea with so much salt, you just float. It's very difficult to sink over there compared to a regular ocean.
I have a response too, also.
Hold on a second, Owen. So there's a TV show, you can Google it if you actually want to see a demonstration of this. So, An Idiot Abroad is the name of the show. And the guy goes and just does that, floats in the Dead Sea, filmed in nice high definition. He gives a description of his experience. So Google search that or YouTube search that. An Idiot Abroad. And just type in
I didn't know
Sea.
someone was filming my experience.
No, it's a show. It's actually pretty okay. I've seen it a while back.
I've seen it as well.
It's okay.
Bald tards abroad.
But I still have a response I would like to make.
Well, the guy looks like conspiracy cat.
He looks like you.
Looks like conspiracy cat.
He looks like you.
Yeah, he does kind of look like you. He does kind of look like you. It's true.
Let me just progress that last point that I was making then. The lines on the Plimsoll line, the boat, they learnt about how the densities of the waters were important when England were going through its Iron Age and the Industrial Revolution, because the English were making loads of boats made out of steel, right? And they were basing all their boats on their load capacities based on the North Atlantic density of the water. And that was great whilst we were pootling around Europe because it's generally quite cool compared to tropical regions. And basically what they were doing was they were leaving England fully loaded up to the weight line, safe when they leaves England. But by the time it gets to the Caribbean and it's getting into tropical salt water, that changes the density of the boat because the medium it's in is becoming less dense, which makes the boat more dense. And basically it basically overloads itself and it capsizes or sinks because it's too dense for the medium it's now in. And that's all caused by the density change with the temperature of the water. And if you don't believe me, just Google the Plimsoll line history and look it up and read about it. And you'll realize that gravity is not affecting these boats. What's affecting these boats that were sinking in the early days is the density of the water that they're floating through. And if you don't realize that you can't overload it in England, because by the time you get to the Caribbean, it's going to sink, then you're going to lose your ship. So nothing to do with gravity. It's all to do with the medium that the boat's floating in. So shout outs to the Plimsoll line.
Tony, have you ever thought about doing a test with warm water and cold water?
I've just given you
an actual test with something floating in it, like a pretendy boat. No, a pretendy boat. And
come on, he has a lifetime subscription on eggs. I gotta use it.
So, Ranty, to answer your question, we did this. I showed this a couple of weeks back. Basically, one of these videos here. Am I still screen sharing, Nathan? Nathan,
he's swimming.
So basically, Ranty, this is an example of hot water and cold water. They've got dye in it to denote which one's hot and which one's cold. And basically, what this guy, obviously, the warm one is the red one, yeah. And then as the guy pulls the lever up, he allows the warm water to pass into the blue water's chamber, and the blue water passes into the red chamber. But there is a mix.
What? The blue will sink, won't it? And the red will go over the top.
Well, watch what happens. The red one's filling up at the bottom. Well, we must have this the opposite way around. But the point is, the red one's filling up from the bottom first, and the blue one's filling up at the top first.
Yep.
I think he's got this the other way around. This might not be the temperature, but this is the point. You can do it with temperature as well as pure salt water and fresh water. Let's see what he says. Oh no, he just says what happened in this. I'd have to listen to this one to hear what he was describing. But yeah, so we're seeing that we can demonstrate lateral displacement, not just vertical displacement.
Well, can't you just sort of like get a toy boat, put it in some cold water, see where it comes up to, and then put it in some boiling water and see what happens to it?
This is pretty interesting, by the way, because if you look at the video, there's a clear, distinct difference between left and right, where the red is pushing to the left here, and it seems very separated. It's almost like a separate type of water layer, while the other one, the blue, there, the red is kind of like hanging around in between. It's more mixy, and it's funny how that's different.
Well, you can see right at the part that he's pulling up, the blue is rising up and the red is staying low. It's not rising up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the red's got a lot more
And
in it.
now it's gradually settling. So the red was kind of stuck up there as well, mixing in. But as the cold front came in there, it was absolutely separate.
It's entropy right now. It's going to be entropy.
Yeah, but heat cold turbulence. It's more than entropy. It's turbulence.
The bit I don't understand
It
is why
is entropy.
you'd go to all that effort and not set up a tripod and have the most shaky video ever.
Unbelievable. Yeah, well, Anthony, you know the man baths you take? Just put, fill it up with hot water, right? And then put cold water and then turn the cold water on. We've all done this before, most of us as kids. Where's the hot water at? When you sit down in the bath, right? Hello.
Yeah, it's because we would ultimately all agree with you. You run the hot tap, you sit in the other end and go, why isn't it still exactly the same temperature? And then you go at the other end and get scolded.
That's why you gotta keep the hose like at the bottom if you want to heat it up, because then it spreads out.
Hey, guess what? Hold on a second. We got Discord up, so I don't know. It might be a little late for that.
I've got the Hangout link out, but nobody's joined. I'll stick the Discord link out. Back up and running. Happy days.
Oh, we got only one room in the panel on Google. Room for one.
Yeah, hey, Discord.
Well, somebody will bring all that fantastic glow proof. I'll gladly step off. So.
Hey, there's people in there
just
too.
buy a television,
Hold on one second,
okay?
Owen. Sorry. Hello to everyone in Discord.
Hello.
Hello.
A chocolate. If you want glow proof, just get a telly. And even better is if you
On
get
the
one of the old.
telly.
Hold on. Even better if you get an old-fashioned one. One of those bubbly glass tubes, because they overemphasize the glow. It makes it easier. It's all the proof you ever need.
Hey, Nathan, can you tell everyone how this is going to roll now?
Yes, indeed. So the Discord server's now a little bit more limited. So as people enter, they're going to get introduced in the same way as people do in the Hangout. So we'll find out precisely what their purpose is. If you're only in Discord to listen, you'll be immediately kicked to a different room, because the whole purpose of Discord is so that we can have people coming in and challenging members of the panel to debate. So we've got Ping. Is it what? Ping Pong Grab?
Ping Pong Grab, he took off.
He's gone. And then we've got who? I can't read.
Rams Corp.
Rams Corp.
Yeah, hey there, guys.
Hello. So what's your deal, Rams Corp?
I'm a flat earther, actually, and I was just listening, and I don't really have anything to challenge any of you guys with.
Fair enough. For now, you're welcome to stay, because there's only you in there.
I have a question.
I've now published the link,
Okay.
so if you want to join via Discord, there is a link. It's available for 24 hours. It's in the info box. You will have to refresh your page in order to join. There's about 15 minutes left on the live show. Shout out to Rising Eagle for the super chat. Awesome. 300 in chat. Unfortunately, Pete is one. Shout out for the super chat, Rising Eagle. Go ahead, Arwin. My bad.
What? Me? What?
Was it you that was talking?
Was I?
I thought
No,
so.
he wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Nathan, why don't you, could you give a brief
it's my turn,
synopsis of
John.
how
Why are
it's,
you always talking to me?
oh my God.
Sorry, just kidding. But it was actually my turn. But
Oh, unbelievable. Hey, Nathan, can you give a brief synopsis on how it's going to happen from here on out?
Certainly. So like in the beginning of Flat Earth debate, I will take more of a moderating role from here on forward. So if, for the sake of argument, the chap in Discord decided to strike up a conversation about his claim globe proof, and Chocolate Sane, for the sake of argument, was the one to challenge him, I would be sitting back and only moderating. In other words, not taking over the debate when I see a fallacy or whatever committed. I won't be stepping in. In other words, if for the sake of argument Chocolate Sane fell victim to said fallacy, that would be his problem, and there would be a perceived win from the Globehead. So that's how it's going to go from now on. So there will be interjections. I've got to moderate if people drone on and on and on and on about their non-stop claim over and over again. So it's going to be the same, or the expected format. You make your claim, you support your claim, and then the person gives their rebuttal. You don't get to repeat the same claim 5 times as a rebuttal. You don't get to endlessly drone on about nonsense. Claim, rebuttal. Simple.
Claim,
talking
support,
about claims.
claim, support, rebuttal.
Right.
No gish galloping. It's a single claim. You make a claim, you support it, and then rebuttal. And that goes for both sides. And no
Right.
one interjects except those two and the moderator.
So Vinnie Mac in chat is saying that we supposedly prove evidence of flatness, and I say it's not possible, and then you guys are lying because he says that you claim scientific evidence for flatness. So what do you say to that?
I don't understand this hypothetical argument you're having with someone in chat. If you want to have a chat argument, you're welcome to, though. Shout out to Al Jungle for the super chat. Really appreciate your support.
But can I just say it's the globers that have the burden of proof? It's obviously flat, so if you need evidence, the burden of proof has to become from the globers.
Yeah, they're the ones with the extraordinary claim, especially when it's conceded on both sides that it's obviously and observably flat.
Right. Yeah, but they say that they've claimed falsely that you claim scientific evidence for it.
Even if it wasn't an extraordinary claim, they're the ones that tell us we live on a sphere. The minute they say that, and we say, can you prove it? They've got to prove it, not us. We've just got to ask for the proof, and they've got to provide it. And the evidence to support the assertion that they claim in the first place is really rather lacking. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. If you're going to come by and tell me that the floor is moving, you're going to have to prove that. Sorry.
They all just become professional red herring fishermen. Greasing the skids with the red herring fish grease.
Wouldn't it be really whoever makes the claim produces the evidence, even the flat earther? So even if the flat earther makes a claim, he needs to back it up. So even if it's observational, that's the proof. That's the if he makes a claim, then he should produce the proof. Whoever makes
That's correct, Paul. You are correct.
However, there are instances where the demonstration or the proof, a photograph from Ranty Flat Earth for the sake of argument of Barrow and Finesse, it requires no explanation. So if you are to say the Earth is obviously and observably flat and then you produce that picture, that is your support of your claim.
Yes.
Well, it's empirical evidence, at least. That's something. It's better
Yeah, it
than
looks like we're
the imaginary.
It looks like we're getting overrun in Discord now, too. I could tell this was going to happen.
We've got one person.
Yeah. But give them a break because Discord was down, so I guess they have an excuse for today.
Definitely, yeah, there's a reasonable excuse. I'll reiterate. There is a link to Discord, so if you were in the show from the beginning, just refresh your page, and then you can join the Discord server. It'd be great if someone from the chat did actually attempt to join, just so we know that it all works perfectly. I've refreshed the link and generated a new one, so everything should work as it should now the Discord's back up. But we do have about, as I say, maybe 10 minutes, a bit less maybe, left on this show.
I was actually trying to get in Discord just to have it as a backup, and I can't get into it at the moment, so that might be an issue for somebody else too.
Clearly still got issues on Discord. Hey ho.
You talking to me?
No, just generally summarising, there's obviously still issues with Discord. I'm surprised this show has been as flowing or as free-flowing as it has been, given that there's been loads of issues with internet and Google Plus and Discord and all the rest of it. So I've got to be honest, I'm very pleased with the outcome of today's show.
I got a Discord message. I've seen this a couple times. There is no need to nose down in an airplane. Listen, people. I don't care about nosing down. I don't care if the plane does loop-de-loops, decreases its speed, flips its wings. I don't care. You have to descend. There is drop on the earth. If you're taking a plane flight at 500 miles an hour, whether it be 500 miles or 1,000 miles, there's a certain amount of drop. With 500 miles, there's 31.7 miles of drop. With 1,000 miles, there's 128 miles of drop. That's vertical drop. So you have to descend. How about that? My word, people.
Sorry, also, can you summarise the reality of our situation we actually find ourselves in if we were to take any flights, John? Just so it's concise with the actual reality of the situation.
Yeah, according to the space monkey spinning ball religion, you have to, you live on a sphere. It has 8 inches per mile squared of drop. That is vertical drop. If you're going from point A to point B, there is a certain amount of drop that has to be negotiated. So no matter what you do, you have to negotiate that drop. It's as simple as that. You can't fly level and be dropping. That doesn't make any sense. So I don't care how you do it, the plane has to descend. If anyone has taken a flight in their entire life, they know that this does not happen. How about that?
Yeah, that's the bell one.
You have Nathan, right?
Me, I used to be an international rep. I used to fly all the time.
Hey, John,
Yeah,
on that 128 mile on the descend on 1,000, is this the typical commercial airline 30,000 feet when they get up?
Yes, it's an average per minute. It has to drop has to be negotiated. I don't care how you do it. 2 cartwheels, I don't care. It has to be negotiated. Period. End of story.
If there's drop, there's drop. There isn't because there isn't. And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who've tuned in on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream. If you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley, I'll say that the other around, live stream. If you're joining us on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. However, if you are watching this live on Nathan Oakley 1980, got it right this time, then a massive thank you for tuning in. Also, of course, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this debate possible. Be sure to check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum at nathanoakley.com, and you should definitely all join it. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!